Welcome to the Market Main podcast, where we talk everything marketing. Today's guest is Brandon Beavers, the owner of Renew Exterior Service. Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Thank you for having me.
Brandon, you know what? You just told me that you rebranded. Tell me a little bit about your business and what exactly it is you're doing.
So we're an exterior cleaning company. So we handle everything from the roof to the driveway. So we take black algae called Glycocaps and magma off of roofs, and it helps protect the investment of your home, and it makes your roof last a lot longer rather than letting it deteriorate. And then we clean out gutters, integral part of the system of keeping your house maintained. And then we clean houses, we clean driveways, everything that goes with that. But we do it in a way that it is soft washing. So it's a low pressure chemical cleaning instead of high pressure. That way we don't damage siding, we don't damage wood, paint, none of that gets harmed.
Okay.
And so the chemicals go onto the siding. It's got a soap mixed in with it that's bleach stable, and it clings to your house and actually kills the spores at its core, so that it's not just moving it around as if it were being pressure washed. It's actually killing it at its core. So it takes 2 to 3 times longer to come back. So if normally you need your house washed once a year, then you don't need it cleaned once every 3 years, potentially. And then in the wintertime, when it does get too cold to wash, we offer holiday light installation.
Oh, okay.
So we do Christmas lighting, or Halloween. We can do stuff for Valentine's Day. It doesn't really matter the holiday, but we can do any color that you like as well.
Okay. So you're also renting out the equipment, or is that just putting it up?
So for the pressure washing side or the holiday light
No,
side?
for the holiday lights. I mean, the pressure washer, I
Yeah.
just assume that's all your equipment. You don't
Yes,
rent it.
everything's mine. The way we do holiday lights is actually kind of fun. So we go to your house and we can take a picture of the front of your house. And then we can take a measurement of one portion of the front of your house. Say your garage door is 10 feet 2 inches. And we'll put that into our software. And our software will show us exactly how wide your house is, how tall it is, how tall that tree is, what the peak is, everything. And then so we go in there and we say, hey, we want this type of line for the roof. We want this type of bulb. We want this color. We want them spaced this far apart. And then we put it on there and we do a rendering of your home. And we'll show you 3 different versions of that. And what that'll look like is the Grinch, the Elf, and the Hallmark. So the Grinch could be your basic roof outline, just your gutters and a peak, and that's it. And that's a low-cost package.
It's like packages that you sell there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's not a set price on a package. It just gives you an idea of a price point for a type of house or your house. Like, hey, this is the Grinch, because there's not much. It's kind of small. And it's like, hey, this is going to be a $500 install. This is as low as it goes. And then there's the Elf. This is what the average consumer gets. And so this will be the roof line, the peaks, a couple of wreaths with bows on them that are lit, and it'll look really nice, and that's the average home. And then you have the Hallmark, or the Clark Griswold, and that would be the roof lines, the wreaths, the bows, garland on the porches, ground stake lighting, wrapped trees, wrapped bushes, and it's a whole winter wonderland.
Okay.
And from there, it can just be as big as you want it and as pretty as you want it. But the average is going to be that middle package. That's the Elf. That's what most consumers are going to go with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then...
but are you doing Christmas only, or are you also doing other stuff?
So we do any holiday that you want to do, any color combination. We have people doing orange and green for Miami Hurricanes football season. And to answer your question earlier, because I got sidetracked, is how the lights all work. When we do that 3D rendering and say you do it, all of these lights are commercial, so they're not something you can go buy at the store. We order in bulk quantities from wholesale suppliers, and we'll come in and we'll custom cut each line to fit your house, your peak. So these lines don't go on somebody else's house.
Okay.
They're for your house.
So they have to buy them, or they rent them from you?
So they are leased from us, and we keep all that inventory. And so you buy whatever you're wanting to have done, right? We'll come custom cut it, and we'll maintain it. It's part of the lease. Everything's covered except act of God stuff like a tree falls and breaks it, or a squirrel comes and chews it in half, we'll come out and fix it, but we'll have to charge for that. But if a bulb goes out, the strand goes out, something goes wrong, we'll come fix that for free.
Okay.
And then when the season is over, say it's Christmas lights, come the new year in January, we're going to come take those lights down for you, and we're going to store them. And they're just going to sit in the warehouse waiting for you for the next year.
Okay. That is like, is that ongoing cost then also, like the storing?
No, so the storing, everything's included in the price. So if it's $1,000 install, we're going to come out, do the rendering for you, show you what it's going to look like, and then we're going to come out, install it. We're going to maintain it. We're going to come and take it down, and we're going to store it. And then the only ongoing cost you would have is if you want to do it again the next year.
Okay, I see. All right. Well, that's nice. A lot of people, especially like when they're older, they don't want to like climb the ladder anymore, and then I think that's also like good for other people that don't have the time for that. Plus, like they don't have access to that like customized, light bulbs.
They typically don't, and the difference in someone who doesn't know exactly what they're doing installing lights from, say, a big store like Lowe's or Home Depot is going to be a massive difference. So you run into power consumption issues, you run into electrical issues if it's not being done right. Because we have a certain amount of volts that go through a certain amount of watts per line, how many bulbs per line, how many strands for mini lights, all these different things that kind of go into it. So an electrician could do it if he's got the eye for it. But there's a bunch of different things that we go to training for. And we're CLIPA, which is Christmas Light Installers Pros Association. It's a specialty training for what we do.
Oh, there's already training out there for that?
Right. There is. It's very well established, and it's a very good training. And then me and all my guys go to it.
What area are you serving?
So we serve an hour of Chattanooga. We're located off Shalifer Road in Chattanooga, and we serve within an hour for most clients. If it's a massive job, we'll go out of town, we'll get a hotel. But for our average consumer, we're within usually about 30 minutes of Chattanooga, but we'll go up to an hour.
What kind of marketing are you doing to reach all the people?
So we do a lot of different kinds of marketing. Our initial guerrilla marketing was just going out, and before I had a name for the business, even knew exactly what our services were going to be or anything, I reached out on Facebook and I said, who are successful people that I know? Who are business owners that I know? I want to hang out with people who are smarter than me. And that post did pretty well on Facebook, and I tagged the smartest person that I thought I knew, which was the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. And I was like, hey, can I shadow you? She's like, yeah, I have an idea. And so me and her got online, and we did a podcast for about 4 months, about one every 2 weeks. So not many of them, about 8 of them total. And we brought in different people that were industry experts in their field. So experts in marketing, experts in tax law, people who have bought and sold multiple businesses, people in cleaning, people in rope access for high-rise cleaning, all these different people from around the country. And we interviewed them for like an hour and just talked. And so I took all that information, and when I spoke to the marketing person, she was like, one of the best things you can do that's low cost right now is go join your local Chamber of Commerce. And so I did. I joined the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce. They have about 300 events a year. And I just went and talked to everyone. They was like, you have a business card? Nope. Don't even know what the business is going to be yet. I just want to start meeting people. So I did that for a year prior to launch. And I just got everything ready. And so when I launched, 25% of my closed business for our first fiscal year was networking. So we joined a BNI type group. It's not necessarily BNI, but I joined a group like that. I get a lot of business from them, from my networking, and then I have a lot of other smaller networking events that aren't chamber related, but they're still a good group of people. And so I come referred by hundreds of businesses already. And the difference is most of your companies that do what we do, most of them just do pressure washing. They don't have a lot else going on. And so when I come out and I explain who I am as a person, what we're doing as a company, and it's not necessarily about what we do, to us, it's important on how we make people feel while we were there.
Yeah.
And so we go out and we explain all of these different things to people, and they see our face time and time again, month after month. At all these events, people want to recommend us. So that's one of our That is our best form of marketing for the price.
Like I absolutely agree. This is exactly what I did here. We just moved here, right? So I'm
Yeah.
originally from Germany. Lived in Signal Mountain, just moved to Birchwood. Now Dayton, I was like, okay, I don't want to drive very far, and I think everyone here can relate to that.
Hmm.
Um, so I was like, okay, it's going to be Dayton. It's like 10 minutes from my house. That's not a problem. What am I going to do? Who do I have to meet? Right? Before anything, I was like, okay, who do I have to meet that can connect me to the right people in town? Just here, right? We're a business to business service provider. So we do not really care about direct to consumer. It's like, I mean, it's a consumer, right? But we are like business to business, even though that's always business to a person, right? Chamber of Commerce, right? I already have a huge network. Was my first company, but exactly what you said. Applaud you for that because that's really the way to go. It's like, okay, meet people first. Yeah, it's not about who you know. It's about who knows you, right? So it's like, what do you want to be known for? Also, it's like, go out there, tell them we're planning to do this, right? We're launching then. Now they're already all like, oh, well, can you do the first, like, rather sooner than later? I mean, there's also like something to be said to, you know, reaching out to other people and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to be the smartest room in the smartest person in the room. You're in the wrong room then, right? 100% agree with everything you said. This is still for me networking. Your network is your net worth is basically 100% what every business owner or anyone that wants to start a business should live by. You know, try to get known by other people, especially other business owners. So you can learn a lot from them.
I agree, and like that's one of our methods. So we do have other things. So we've got our vehicles wrapped. We've got we get invited out on radio shows. We've been on the news because we're so involved in the community.
Mm-hmm.
People nominate us for these things.
Okay.
So we've been on, I think, 3 or 4 radio shows. We've been on the news once, and then stuff like this podcast. We get to come out to things like this. So that's another form that we get that's free. And then we do have paid stuff. So we have paid social media ads. We have campaigns launching within the next few months, as early as next month. We do have Google AdWords we're going to do. We have Facebook marketing that we already do, door hangers, postcards, flyers, things like that. So we have a bunch of different things, and we're just kind of testing the market and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
But my favorite type of marketing is the marketing where I just get to meet people and talk. We talk about business for 5 minutes, and then we talk about each other for 55 minutes.
Right.
And
I mean,
get to know the
right.
person.
That's the thing. Like it's a very personal thing, right? Doing business with someone is like, okay, well, now you told me what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who you are as a person really decides if I want to do business with you, right? It's like, do I trust you? Do I like you? Is it clicking? Do we have the same values? Right. That's also a big thing often, right? Do we have the same values, or am I super opposed of a person? Right. I was like, that's just not clicking. I don't think we see the world the same way. It's very important. It's more than just like, oh, best price, right? Best price is like, if I want best price, I go to Walmart, right? That's it. I buy a t-shirt for $3, that's fine. But if I want value, then I don't go to Walmart.
If I'm the best price, then there's a problem.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't want to even be in the commodities business. I offer what no one else can, therefore I don't compete with anyone. It doesn't matter which industry I'm in. I don't want to compete. That's the thing. Like, I think, first of all, even if there is someone that is in the same space, I see that person more as a collaborator than competition. It's like, okay, most likely I have more work for you than you could give me, because my network is just exponentially way bigger than yours. So on the other hand, it's like, okay, but I need you because I can only feed my big network when I have a lot of collaborators, right? So it's like, the world is abundant, and I don't want to I don't want to be in a space where there's like tough competition and everyone is like, no, this is mine. I don't want to give anything. It's all mine, mine, mine. I'm not that person. For me, it's always good to have not the lowest price, but the best product or service in a way structured that no one else can offer this.
I agree. So we have probably 100 different companies doing what I do that start up every single year, and maybe five of them make it to the next year. And those five that do, they reach out to their competitors and they collaborate. So I've got, I don't know, three or four of my competitors that have the codes to my unit. And so when something of theirs breaks, instead of having to try and ship it from wherever, they just call me, hey, do you have this part? And if I do, I just give it to them and they order me another. Or if we run out of chemical, we'll go, I'll call a guy, hey, do you have any? I ran out and it's on a Sunday and everything's closed. He'll just let me come get it.
Yeah.
So having a good network of competition and treating them as collaborators is definitely a huge upside.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the people, there are people that are successful that are not having that mindset. Absolutely, right? They did this for so long. They were always like, crushing other people. Also, so they're big in their space, and success shows that their way can also work. But I don't think it's the right way. It's like my way is like I want to collaborate with people. I don't want anyone to feel like screwed over after doing business with me in no way. It's like that. It's not good for like for the future if you're like a one and done guy. It's like I do business once. I don't care what happens afterwards. I want it to be in a way where my clients or even the people that see how I do business recommend me to other people if they have something out of that or not. Just, because they don't have anything out of that, maybe like financially when they refer me, but they have something out of that because they helped another person, right? They get that benefit, reciprocity from that person because they referred me and I did a good job for them, right? It's like there's so much opportunity for everyone when they open up their mind and say, okay, the world really is abundant, especially here in the United States. There's so much business right now, like everywhere. Everyone is talking about an upcoming recession. I don't feel it. This is like there's so much going on everywhere, and I was my industrial automation company. We're global, right? We're opening up a branch this year in Estonia, in Europe, to have a European branch. Funny part is that I'm from Europe, but this company started here, so I'm like branching back. That's going to be big. We have partners in Asia, we have partners in Africa, South Africa, we have partners in Brazil, we have partners in Argentina, everywhere. So this is only going to go from here to like the sky's the limit, like literally. If Elon Musk at one point is going to get us all to Mars, we're going to be there too. So that's the thing. It's like I think when you start thinking that way and opening your mind and your network up, for collaboration on each like on every level, that's it. You're on the right path. So, and like, how old is your company?
So the company technically began in April of 2021, but we launched our first services on September 9th last year. So we are about 10 days away from our 1 year mark of operating as a
Well,
business.
happy birthday.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful year. So we took that and we worked with the Tennessee Small Business Development Center from August of last year, and we started putting together a business plan because we knew we wanted to do this correctly. And to do this correctly, we needed financing. And so what's the biggest thing that banks look for when they're wanting to give money to a company? We need 2 years of tax returns, right? So I'm like, I'll give you 4 months of financials and a 50-page business plan that tells you exactly how I'm going to grow this company. And that's what I did. And so we worked with the Tennessee Small Business Development Center and with TVFCU, and they've got a loan that is specifically designed for small businesses less than 2 years old. And it's called the Ideal Leap loan. And it's got very favorable terms, especially for a small business. And we gave all that information to the bank and they gave us their max. And so we took that and we bought a bunch of equipment and we worked on our branding, and we knew that was a long road. So we started all of that in January and we just launched on Thursday. So on the 25th. So
Okay.
we took 8 months to build the brand to where it is today, but it's something that we can be proud of. And so we have two different things that we're focusing on.
But all while you were already like, cleaning buildings and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, right?
Yep. So we cleaned through the whole process and we grew our client base and talked to people. But during that time, we were refining who we were as a company and who we wanted to be. And so that's why it took so long, because we wanted to do it correctly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And when you say we, who's the other people?
So there's a lot of people that help me in this. Essentially, this is all my dream and my passion, but I get to bounce my ideas off of my wife. I get to bounce my ideas off of my business coach. I get to bounce my ideas off of my marketing team. So I use Allison South Marketing Group, and they've been great for me, but I get to bounce my ideas off all these people. And one thing I've kind of learned and knew when I was coming into the business is I don't want to do what they call a DIY death trap. I don't have to do it all. I don't need to go out there and buy a printing press or a heat press and make my own shirts. I don't need to cut my laminate and throw it on my car. I can get somebody else to do that and focus my time on what's most valuable. And so I want to spend more time on my business than in my business. So from day one, I had an employee before we even had enough work, and I worked enough to get him work. And now I've got two, and we're getting ready for a third. And so luckily, I am fortunate enough to have a wife that helps support things at home. So I've not taken much of a salary, but everything we have, we've invested back into the business. And it's so that we can grow a business that we're proud of. And that's what we've kind of done so far. I'm excited to see where we go in the next year.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I respect that a lot. Like I have built my business, my first one here in the United States at least, very differently. I started with nothing. I was by myself. I did like the freelancer thing. I had like $10,000, like a credit card was $10,000 of like limit. And that's how I started the business. I went from basically like a good paying 100K job to like nothing. And we had a benefit that the house that we lived in back then, my wife's house, that was paid off already. We started in Charleston, West Virginia. It was good because it really went up and down. I had no funds. I had no one that helped me. It was just me. I tried to do it all. I didn't spend any money on like advertisement or anything because I thought the industry is not like that. You need word of mouth. You need active sales. I gained my first clients by like going like on Indeed in Germany and was looking for companies that are looking to send people over to the United States, to work here for them, to build their branch or what. So what I did was like, I called them up. I was like, hey, you know what? You don't have to hire anyone and send them over here. I'm already here. I'm a freelancer though. You have to pay me a little bit more, but you don't have to pay for a visa and get anyone over, and I'm available tomorrow. So that got me the first business. But then after that, there was no business. Then was a little bit business. There was no business. A week worked for a week, can live from that for 2 months, right? But this back and forth was just not getting me anywhere, right? It was this freelancer thing. I had a really good reputation pretty quickly, and how do I say that? It's like I did not do what you did from the get-go. I didn't use leverage, right? Leverage other people, and your business is going to go through the roof pretty quickly. In 2020, though, I had employees before, but in 2020, when everything basically came to a halt, in the early months of 2020, like nothing. I almost went bankrupt, so I took a job, worked for someone else, didn't like it anymore. After like 4.5 years, just working for myself, mostly good, but sometimes not so good, was this up and down. You have a job, you don't have a job, The thing was that I just generally didn't like working for another person anymore. Like so bad that I quit the job in the midst of the pandemic. Everything was still in shutdown. My wife looked at me like, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? Where's the income coming from? And the only thing I did was like, I picked up the phone, called everyone I knew if they would have a job for me as a programmer, right? I did PLC programming back then. So I called a friend up down in Chattanooga, even though we were still living in Chicago. I was like, hey, you have a job for me? He's like, well, I have 6 programmers sitting around there. I have nothing to do for them. I just keep them on so I don't have to furlough them, that I still have them when I need them again. but I need a salesperson. So I was like, okay, watch me. Picked up the phone, called everyone that I knew that I usually wouldn't have called because I'm just a one-man show. Told them, hey, you have something to do. I have tons of people sitting around, right? Didn't tell them they were not mine. Leverage other people. They were like, yeah, you know what? We can't send anyone over from Germany to the United States right now. We need people on the ground. We have projects going on. Can you help us? I created so much business that in those 6 months that I worked in 2020, just the second half, I generated 400% growth. That was the best year for me in business ever because I leveraged people. Like finally something clicked, and that you start like that. That's a great start for you to have.
Thank you.
So that now, like 2021, like I never look back. I'm doing nothing. I'm working, like you said, on the business rather than in the business, right? Since about half a year now, I'm not working in the business anymore whatsoever. I have enough people working for me at all times that I don't need to anymore. And now I'm blowing this up. Second company, the first thing I did was the second company. I hired 6 people, right? Because I learned from that. Now we have this great place here, and it's a brick and mortar business basically, right? Offering services for people like you, for people like my other business, right? Totally different. We will grow so fast here because I have the leverage of the other people that there will be. It will not take 6 years to get to the point where I am now with the other business.
Right. And people always say that the customer comes first. The customer's always right. Our most important person in our company is our employees. So I haven't been on my truck for the majority of the year. And the reason I've been able to do that is because I hired early and I trained them well. And now they take care of that side of things.
Yep.
I just get a call saying, hey, this person needs to be invoiced or this person paid with a check. And then I can spend all of my time, every hour that I want, working on the business. It's also allowed me to be home at a decent hour, and it's allowed me to not have to work but 2 weekend days since the company launched. My guys take care of everything else. So I may still work, but I won't be on a truck.
Well,
And
okay.
so my employees are my most important asset. And then from there, we still value and take care of our customers and our clients. But our employees are what make our company grow.
Yeah, sure.
So-
That's the thing. Growth, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. That's it.
Mhm.
I mean, every business owner, every entrepreneur that understands that part of the business, they will make it. If you're like just getting by, you do everything yourself. Like I'm guilty of that too. Like I said, like the first few years, made huge mistakes. I'll learn from that. Never gonna happen to me again. Like I use leverage like right away, grows, and then we go from there. It's so powerful once you have mastered that skill, and then mix it in with networking. That's that's worth everything. You're never gonna have problems, even in like in times of like 2020, right, where everyone else was suffering. I didn't. Like I didn't miss a single day of work, even though I was working half a year for someone else. I didn't miss a single day of work in 2020. I actually worked more in 2020 than in any other year before. And I mean, it got to a point now with like the grand opening happening and all the hiring and everything. The last few months, I did like 120, 130 hours a week, just by myself, not working in the business, but on the business, because it was necessary to like build the team and get the place up and running, and ordering all the inventory, and also putting all the trainings in place now. Well, I have to now build the culture, build the systems that my company runs the way I need it to run, right? And that is only possible if you like put in the work working on the business. Like if I would be busy programming somewhere, I couldn't do that.
Exactly. You've got to put your time and resources where it matters most. And that's growing the business. If I'm on a truck every day, we don't go anywhere.
Right. I mean, you go to the customer, but that's
Yeah.
it. That was always the problem. When I landed really quickly, really nice customers. Customer number 4 in my business, Tesla, directly. All right. So the deal was, I had this great job. This building reputation, right? For me, if I tell someone I work for Tesla, we still do. working on 2 deals right now with them. That that has prestige, right? This is a very important customer for me, not only because I just love working with those guys, because they have a totally different mindset, but also because it is, if I say that to anyone in America, everyone is going to say like, "Wow, this is really cool." You know, how is it? How is it working for that company, right? But the problem was like, I got phone calls. Hey, we're looking for a programmer. Do you have time? I said, no, I'm at Tesla right now. That's probably going to go on for the next year. Really great here. Really tooted my own horn there, right? But at the same time, they were like, okay. Then they went with someone else. I'm not the only okay programmer, good programmer, whatever you want to say. Now what happens is, I lose a job because of you never in control. Elon Musk tweeting something funny and the stock market is crashing for them. They're like, you know what, send all the contractors home. That's what happened in 2018. I was able to like finish my PO, but then afterwards they didn't renew, right? So what happened was that I called up the other clients. They called me and said, hey, do you still have a job for me? They're like, well, we went with someone else because you didn't have time. Then the deal was that person wasn't bad either, right? So the next time they have a job, guess who they call? Not me. The last guy that was there. That was the other guy. So that was a spiral all the time that didn't happen once. That happened quite often to me where I said no, and then I lost the whole customer. Not only that job, but the whole customer because now someone else is the guy, right? So the other thing is that the moment I realized this and I said yes to everything, I say yes to everything now. Everything, and then figure it out. Like an engineering position right now, I fill an engineering position in within 48 to 72 hours, like this. That's not general labor, that's very hard, but like engineering positions, I have such a big network now with, trustworthy engineers. We have this like it's kind of like a country club, right?
Right.
I need 2 referrals for someone to be on board. Otherwise, I don't work with you. Or I need a really good partner that tells me, well, I worked with that person already twice or 3 times. Really good guy. We can go with him. Then, one voice is enough too. But, if I don't know you, I'm not going to work with you. I don't want to destroy my reputation that I built over 6 years now with one bad apple. I can't do that. Can't afford that. I have a family to feed. And now, like, I have so many other families to feed, so that's also something to keep in mind. If you're a business owner and you hire people, man, that's like the first time I hired someone full time, and that person had 3 kids, and a wife.
Terrifying.
That is terrifying. I have no problem like, going out, quitting my job and finding new work, right? I don't even, that does nothing to me. Nothing. I'm not terrified at all. Hiring a full-time person where I know that person is not, by themselves. It's like there's a family behind that rely on me now too. I just had 5 more babies, right? So that's like, oh wow, that's terrifying. That's really terrifying.
My first guy was, a single guy, no kids, no wife, and he has a super low cost of living. So he was great in the beginning because he only needed part time. Other than that, he got to go adventure. And then my next hire, he's got 4 kids and a significant other. And I'm like, all right, I actually hired him as my full time guy, and my part time guy just wanted to stay part time. Well, now they're both full time, and we're looking at another person. And so it is terrifying, but I've realized like when I did work on the truck, I would work on the truck for a week, and then the next week we wouldn't have any work. And so I would spend that entire week drumming up work for us to work the next week. And then I'd work on the truck the whole next week, and then we wouldn't have work for the next week. So it was like a week on, week off type episode for months until I was just like, you know what? I'm losing more money on the truck than if I were off the truck. So, and then I told the next guy, I was like, you're going to get a minimum. Whether you work or not, you're getting paid. And what that means is if we don't have work, you're hanging door hangers because we're going to get something out of this. And since I've been able to do that, it's paid off. If we don't have work, he hangs door hangers and we have work the next day. Yeah. So, but we're doing pretty well as it stands now, but he's got that. And so he knows he's got something coming. And then we've already got stuff put away. So their salaries are covered into next year because I'm preparing for that because our slow season's coming up in January, February, and March. But I'm not going to let them go. I'm going to keep them on, and then I'm going to use them in my business to help brand us and help get our name out there.
Right. Or find a product that is, it's making you money in winter, right?
Gutter cleaning and holiday lights.
Right. That, but like holiday lights in January and February is hard.
Well, you've got St. Patrick's Day, you've got Valentine's
All right.
Day, and then you've got 4th of
I mean,
July.
you have to be creative. There's your, other stuff. I don't know. If I think about it, I mean, it's kind of tough because it doesn't really snow down here,
Yeah.
Like you do that in Chicago, you're busy.
Mm-hmm.
You're busy, like shoveling snow or something like that. Come up with a product,
Well, there's only about 10 days a year that it doesn't get above 32 during the day. And we have a box truck, so we can heat that thing as we go. And there's only a few days a year where we don't get to work. And my guys are perfectly fine during those days when it's freezing cold outside, just having a day off.
I mean, I do it the same way. I have done it in my industrial automation company. Also, we had full-time mechanics on. I went away from that because I just broke even with them all the time. But I did the same thing. You have a lot of free time, right? It's like if I have a job, you're on site somewhere. If I don't have a job, you're at home. Do whatever you want. I don't even care that you do anything for me. You get paid 40 hours a week, right? Same with the guys here. If I wouldn't have enough work, and right now we have actually too much work, but it's 40-hour minimum. You get paid 40 hours. It's not your fault when I don't have anything to do for you, right? I don't like that. Everyone is on hourly, even though those positions that we have here in the marketing company, they usually would be salaried people, but I put them on hourly at the same amount, but pay them overtime if they work overtime, because I find it unfair for someone having a 40-hour contract and then working 60, 70 hours. That's not fair.
You mean their salary until they get or their hourly until they get 40 hours, and then their salary afterwards is what a lot of companies do.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I don't do that. We are also giving them profit share here. So, I can't only give away so much, right? But, right now at that capacity here, everyone gets 5%, right? After we break even. I think that's fair because, like you said, that's my most valuable asset that I have. It's people, right? I want everyone to feel like this is their company too.
Yeah, they don't want to have an ambition with your company.
Well, they will never be me. They will never work like me, or you guys will never work like you.
Exactly.
But I wanted to get close to that, right? The thing is that why do I do that? Because I see that a lot of I can't give the best benefits or anything. I'm not a big corporation or anything, but what I can do is I can enable you to give yourself benefits that I could never give you. So everyone that brings a customer is welcome to take a big check for commission. And we have a recurring revenue system anyway, so that's a big check for a year, every month. So I think there must be ways to incentivize people to stay, because especially in the world that we're living in right now, where even the kid at McDonald's makes 16, 17, 18 bucks. That's what kind of world is that, right? You have to incentivize people to come to work. It's very hard. I don't know how that is in your business, but
we have attendance bonuses, $500 a month if you show up to work.
Yeah, well, that's
it's
effed up, to be honest. That we have to go there.
Well, to me, it's a bonus to take weight off of my shoulders. So just like you said, one thing can mess up your reputation. If my guys, I have to trust them to show up. I don't need to be babysitting them. They get their work order and then they go do their job. But if they don't show up and they don't call, then I'm going to get a call from the client and say, hey, when are your guys were supposed to be here? And I'm going to call them and be like, where are you? So I don't have to worry about that. My guys aren't late. They show up to work. They do great work. But it's worth it to me to do that. And we're such a new business that our structure changes. So the $500 a month, that is ending after this month. And my guys have elected to go to a earned PTO. So they're going to get 10 hour, because we work an average 10-hour day.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to get PTO days of 10 hours apiece. And they're going to get that one a month for the term of that month. So if they're on time that entire month, don't miss a day, they get a PTO day. And then on top of that, they get bonuses. So they put out a yard sign, they get a bonus. They upsell a job, they get a bonus. They take all the photos, they get a bonus. They take a cool photo that I can use in my marketing, they get a bonus. And that also goes the other way. If they have a job where they screwed up and just wasn't paying attention, then they get a knock on their bonus. And we don't really get any knocks. My guys take pride in what they do. But it's just having a structure in place. So I want to give them extra benefits because I can't provide them, full health insurance, dental, vision, all these other things.
Yeah, I know. It's very hard for small companies. We have to see now that we grow a little bit bigger. If there's a company out there that does provide really good health insurance for lower rates, where they kind of like group this. So basically, on paper, it looks like my employees or whoever's employees work all in the same company. That's why they get like a big group, and they get a big discount. But that's only valid, I think, after 5 or 6 employees. So for the longest time, I couldn't do it. I'm on private health insurance for myself. Like it's a real shitty plan, to be honest. But as a small business owners, either you pay like an arm and a leg, or you have not so good health insurance. It's more like a catastrophic plan than anything else. It's a shitty network. So, but it's still better than nothing. I'm covered for the worst part. I have a lot of like every doctor's visit. I pay a lot of money. I would say like I pay more than 50% of what it would cost. But at the same time, doesn't break the bank. Like when I went to like Blue Cross Blue Shield for us 5, like I'm not 25 anymore. They wanted like $2,500 per month for that, and that's just ridiculous for a small business owner.
Can I throw a plug in for another business?
What's that?
I said, can I throw a plug in for another business?
Sure.
So Hitchcock Family Medicine is who I use. I can't afford regular health insurance, and they're a subscription-based primary care physician. So when I have them for me, my wife, my kids, and so when I call up the doctor, say, hey, I'd like an appointment, I walk in, there's no nurse. The doctor is waiting there for me, and he schedules an hour for me. So every doctor only has 8 appointments a day, and they get you for an entire hour. When I take my wife and my 2 kids in there, we have a 3-hour appointment, and for just them, or 4 for me. And then I have his phone number. So like a couple weeks ago, the babysitter decided it was a good idea to let our 2-year-old hang from the trim of the doorway and hold her by her feet, and she fell and cracked her head. And so we didn't call the hospital or have the ER. We called her cell phone directly, and she said, hey, I'll be there in 15 minutes, and I'll meet you there. And we walked in, and she walked us straight back. No co-pays, no fees, no anything. It's all covered, and it's $75 a month per person. Wow. So
that's very nice.
And 50 for kids. So that's what we use. So if you are having to pay that vast amount,
it's like right now, I think for 5 people in total, like I said, it's not the best plan. You have a lot of co-pays and everything. We pay $1,000, a month. What is like for me, that's not much.
Well, we do it through the business. So for
if through the business,
if you get 5 people on it,
that's a pre-tax.
It's $60 per adult and $40 per child. So we have me and my wife and 2 of my employees on it, and so 60, 120, $240 for them, and then we have our 2 kids on there at $40 a piece. So we're just over $300 for our entire family and all of our employees, and we pay 50% of our employees' cost. So that is an option if you do have those crazy things. It's just a random plug for another business, and that's what the networking's for. So.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely interesting. So where they're located out of Chattanooga?
So they've got one in East Brainerd and one in Hickson, and then they have a 3rd office opening up soon.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, definitely interesting. You can leave me the number or something.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to, have their home cleaned or anything, how do people reach you?
So the best way is to reach us on our website, and that is renewexteriorservices.com. And then you can also call us at 423-488-1988. And you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Renew Exterior Services. And then, just reach out.
All right, perfect. I will post a link in the description of that podcast here. If you're listening on the Apple podcast, then of course there's no link. But just the renewcrew.com is your website, correct?
Yeah, so we have two URLs, but they go to the same website. So it's renewexteriorservices.com or therenewcrew.com. Some people hear the and they hear V and
Oh, okay,
or
I get
so,
it. Oh,
but
yeah.
either one.
I'm not really good in doing that either. It's like,
So
the I make mistakes there all the time. I call my company Mapeus, and everyone that reads that would never put that together. On the other hand, I have like my first business is called Peter's Industry Training and Consulting, and I was like dumb to call it that. We shorten it to Pitco, and there's a Tennessee branch that's Pitco LLC only. But like I'm not thinking enough about that when I come up with that. I want to put my name everywhere, but that's sometimes not the smartest way to do that. But I definitely hear that the Renew crew, that there could be someone misunderstanding, and I get
yeah.
it. I get it.
So or you can just Google Renew Exterior Services.
All right. So you're serving the whole Chattanooga and surrounding areas, correct?
Yep, serving the whole Chattanooga and surrounding areas.
Meaning like all the way up to Knoxville and Atlanta?
So within an hour of about Shallowford Road, so about the center of Chattanooga, within an hour of there. So we
Okay.
can hit a lot of areas.
All right. Well, everyone that wants to, have a clean house from the outside, give Brandon a call or sign up to their website. And then I would say thank you for having you on the show. And I would say see you on the next podcast.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.